Hello Internet, this is a demonstration of the Taurus plunge saw from Aldi for $179, which is a rebadged Scheppach plunge saw. In the box, saw, 2 tracks and a connector, and nothing much else. The saw itself is compatible, well, it's made by Scheppach, so it's compatible with the Scheppach tracks. Stops that's sitting, I think this track here, and the clamps that they make. Hafco here in Forbes Machinery House sell those, and apparently Scheppach Australia will be selling those in the coming week. These were a weekly buy from Aldi, but I'd expect to see them again in 6 to 12 months. So this is a quick demo cutting through or squaring up the end of my Roubeau style workbench. So this is roughly 87mm thick pine, just laminated together. So it's not an intense cut, but it should give a good demonstration of the capability of the saw. Although my lines didn't line up perfectly on both sides of the bench, the resulting cut is actually pretty smooth. It's a little bit better on the other side where I did do a better job of it. I'll probably now make this my tenon end, so I don't have to clean it up further. There's some very minor tear out to speak of, but other than that, with the default blade, which is a 24 tooth alternate tooth bevel blade, it's actually not too bad. So a crosscut would result in more tearing or tear out than doing a rip cut, so this should show the worst results. On plywood I'd expect it to be a little bit too rough, but on construction grade pine this is actually pretty good. The saw itself is the stock standard Scheppach plunge saw, except this time it's red instead of blue. The Woodstar Diva CS55 maybe is yellow, and the Grizzly I think has tinges of green. They're all the exact same saw. They even got the Scheppach blade in there. So I'm not sure why Aldi was able to get it for such a cheap price, but it doesn't feel like it's any better or worse than the others from what I've seen. I don't actually have the Scheppach saw to compare, but it's not too bad. Dust port swivel is fairly stiff. The Wood Whisperer did a review on the Grizzly. I don't know if you can see this. The trigger for plunging could go up too far on the Grizzly, which seems to be fixed on this version. There's still the issue of balance when rotating this all the way out to 45 degrees for your bevel cuts, that it has a tendency to fall over. The Aldi saw does include the anti-tip over guide. I'm not sure what the proper name for it is, but there's a clamp that clips on here and then to the edge of the rail that stops it from falling over. Other than that, there's not too much to say that hasn't already been said by other people. The spring there can be shortened so that you don't get quite as much snap back sort of on the plunge return, so that you need to apply a fair bit of pressure to do that full plunge, and that can get quite tiring. So by shortening that spring or even replacing it with a lighter duty spring, that'll reduce most of the problem. The other problems come from the track itself. These strips here are too close together, so if they're removed and then placed further apart, there'll be less of a wobble in the saw. So there's a a bit of wobble there. It's not ideal, but if you're careful about it, you can work around that limitation. Comparing it to a regular circular saw, you get a much better finish and a much easier straight edge. I didn't need to clamp this down. I just lined it up against the 2 marks I had on the top and bottom of the workpiece. So from that point of view, it's great. Looking at Fez Tools TS55, which comes at about 900 Australian dollars, this is a pretty good buy for just under 200. So make of it what you will. If you don't already have a track saw, this is a great entry into the track saw world. And as a circular saw itself, it seems to hold up pretty well. Eventually I'll probably get some jarrow that I'll need to cut down, but at this stage that's a few months away, so I won't be able to demonstrate that.